good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Thomas Lanahan. I'm the Executive Director of the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. We have been engaged by the county to run the public outreach information gathering stage for this project. So I have a little slideshow to give you tonight about kind of why we're here, what are some of the things that we've already heard, and then we're going to open it up for comments. Lauren on our staff, raise your hand in the back there, is going to be doing the Phil Donahue effect, or whichever show host you like, of bringing the mic around. So we'll ask you to put your hand up when you want to comment, and we'll work our way through that. And then a scheduling note, I've been informed that we do have to finish by 8 o'clock tonight. Otherwise, we will be locked into the library and forced to sort all the books. So we know how much fun that could be. So anyway, but I think we'll be okay. We'll do our best to get through all that, and I guess the best thing to do is just get underway. So we're here to talk about the evaluation and appraisal report of the Martin County Comprehensive Growth Management Plan. So there's the flyer for the event that we're here for, our first public workshop. And then we also have virtual participation in this that folks can watch. They can also comment on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're not going to do live responses to those comments, but we will be capturing all of those into the package of information that we will gather for this and then provide to the County Commission for their review of the evaluation and appraisal report. So who is the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council? We're a public agency. We're created through an interlocal agreement among 4 counties on the Treasure Coast area. It's Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties. There's 10 regional planning councils across the state. Every county is a member of one of them. Our region has, like I said, 4 counties, 52 municipalities, 2.1 million people, the majority of whom are in Palm Beach County, 3,700 square miles. And one of the things that we do is provide technical assistance to local governments and also assist local governments with planning projects that they contract with us to do. It's always a by request type scenario. We don't just roll into town and tell folks what to do. They will invite us to participate with them and their citizens on coming up with solutions. So what have we been up to so far? May 2023, this past May, we were engaged by the county to begin this process. We've been doing, to do the public outreach component of the EAR. Growth Management Department is reviewing Florida statute changes to growth management related policies throughout Florida statutes. And our staff has conducted so far 29 individual interviews. Those are folks who were nominated to a list of interviewees by each of the county commissioners. And so we've been meeting with those folks, and you'll see some of the input that we've gotten along the way there, farther along in the presentation. And this is public workshop number 1. This is not the end. This is part of the beginning. So what are we going to do tonight? We're going to discuss the EAR process and the objectives. Some key legislation that passed this past session up in Tallahassee, the public outreach process, and then some other issues that are important to the community. So just a reminder, there's 2 key growth management documents in the county. The first is the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, and the second is the Land Development Regulations. The Evaluation and Appraisal Review is a review of the comprehensive plan. We will not be going into land development regulations or any of those aspects as part of this, although things that change in the comp plan can lead to changes in land development regulations, but we're focused on the growth management plan for this effort. So the EAR process, a couple key things from the statutes. The first, this is a once every 7-year process. The local government, that's Martin County in this case, is required to look at statutory changes since the last time an EAR was done. So over the past 7 years, different parts of the statutes have been adjusted and potentially create conflicts between the statutes and the growth management plan. So we have to check those out and see if there's any of those changes need to happen to address those. And then the other local governments are called upon to comprehensively evaluate and, as necessary, update the comp plan to reflect changes in local conditions. So that's where we get into some more of those local issue concerns that the county may wish to address. There's not a requirement that you must address, but they certainly need to be looked at, and you may wish to make changes. So again, the statute changes over the last 7 years. There's 19 chapters in the comprehensive plan, so all 19 of them have to be looked at. And then there's some areas where there might be some updates that are needed from certain provisions become antiquated due to changing conditions. A great example is the last time the comp plan was amended, Indiantown was just a part of unincorporated Martin County. It's now a incorporated municipality. So the way that it's referred to in the plan needs to be adjusted, just as an example. And then at the end of this review process, which is the first stage here, we have to notify the state of the county's intent to develop EAR-based amendments to the comp plan. So like I said, the items discussed and identified in that review may or may not result in changes to the comprehensive plan. And then if there are changes that are going to move forward, those will have their own comprehensive plan amendments with their own public hearing process. So be aware that there will be more opportunities to provide input. And then a couple of big changes that happened. 2023 was a big year for growth management legislation. Some pretty significant things happened. One of which is the Live Local Act, also called Senate Bill 102, regarding affordable housing. And then the other is House Bill 1379, which relates to septic systems and sewer systems and things of that nature. So first off, the Live Local Act. And this is excerpted directly from changes that were made to the statute and gives you a statement of legislative intent, which is always useful in interpreting a statute. It gives you a feel for, okay, what were they thinking? And then the actual mechanics come into play. So, the goals are that every Floridian have safe, decent, and affordable housing. And then the state is looking for there to be working partnerships between the state and local governments and communities and the private sector in the realms of financial as well as regulatory commitment to accomplishing those goals. So that's some of the background behind that. And then, there's two parts of it. One is a slightly older provision, it's about 2 years old, that is an optional program where communities can decide to allow affordable housing, and that's in the range of 30% to 120% of area median income. So for Martin County, that's a family of four earning between about $24,000 and $102,000 or so dollars a year is who this is targeted at. So it's an optional program. You can allow residential on commercial or industrial land without having to do a zoning change, without having to do a comp plan change. There are communities that have taken advantage of this. Some are very open about how they do it, or very loose, if you will, of make an application and go forward. Others create some policies and some frameworks around locations, which I would say is probably a recommended practice, and how to implement that. So this is the optional program. This is actually not new. And then there's the non-optional or mandatory program. This is new. This went into effect July 1st. There's a couple of provisions in this. If 40% of the units meet that affordable definition, then the county must approve residential development on commercial, industrial, or mixed-use land, and must not restrict the density below the highest density allowed anywhere in the unincorporated area of the county, and must not restrict the height below the maximum currently allowed height within 1 mile of the site in unincorporated Martin County, or 3 stories, whichever is higher. and that those developments have to be approved on an administrative basis rather than going to public hearings. And then there's some other provisions in there that the county must consider reducing the parking requirement. There's no mandate to actually reduce it, but you must consider it. Now the development does have to comply with all of the other land development regulation provisions, be they parking, landscaping, setbacks, drainage, all of those other water, sewer, all the other provisions that are in the various codes. These provisions are in effect for 10 years, and this is something that the legislature approved this summer, and I forgot to lead with, I didn't write this, I'm presenting this to you. So I got to take that up north. So anyway, the other thing that we want to mention is House Bill 1379, and this is relating to septic to sewer conversion. And these are all the ground that that particular regulation covers. It is complex, and the extent to which it applies in unincorporated Martin County is still being evaluated. It is geared towards reducing impacts to lagoon areas and sensitive areas, but it provides some regulations about how property gets developed going forwards related to sewer. Now, wow, there's a lot of words. There'll be a quiz on this at the end. No. But basically, you see, this is complicated, the provisions in there. So the staff is looking at that, and will have some more public outreach and education on that going forward. So we don't have a lot of clear information to provide to you on that tonight. They're still digesting those provisions. So those are the two really important pieces of recent legislation that warrant our attention in this process. Because what the county may want to do is there may be particular provisions in the growth management plan that need to be adjusted based on those, or those statutory changes might create unintended consequences that we need to manage through the growth management plan. So now let me touch on some of the input that we received so far during the interview process. Again, almost 30 interviews with different folks in the community that have been conducted by Regional Planning Council staff on basically a one-on-one basis. So a lot of discussion about the western lands in the county. What might some strategies be for maintaining that rural or agricultural character, and methods to reduce sprawl. So part of this process is going to be identifying issues. This process does not, that we're doing, the public outreach process does not necessarily identify, and here are the solutions. We may be teeing up issues, and then the staff, in cooperation with the public and the commission, are going to have to grind out how to maybe address these. So resiliency, this is a screenshot from this morning. So we've got Idalia out there threatening the Big Bend area tonight and tomorrow. But climate change and its effects, heat gain, rainfall intensification, these are issues that are leading to some different thoughts about how we handle our stormwater, what those regulations are. There's assumptions behind those regulations about rainfall frequency and intensity. Those may be revisited by the Water Management District, county engineering, folks like that. There may be references to those in the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan that will need to be updated to deal with that. As well, there's maybe some other implications. Growth and development trends. Where should new growth go? What are some strategies to help direct that growth to appropriate locations? That happens to be the Treasure Coast Square Mall, which has its challenges right now, has some areas of success, some areas of challenge. One of the things that is going on across the region is kind of restudying these mall sites, potential repurposing, those sorts of things. So that's just for some food for thought there. But are there appropriate places to accommodate growth, and are certainly other places where we don't want to see that happen? Transportation and mobility, this is another area that we've heard about in the interviews. Can we improve the existing system? What are some ways to grow that support transit, if that's something that we would like to see more of? Affordable housing, okay, official second mention of it tonight. Different ways to increase the inventory. And then another kind of related issue, because affordability is sort of driving this, how to maintain a multi-generational county. What do we mean by that? Because I actually said to the staff member that did the interviews, I'm like, okay, did somebody walk in and say, I would like to maintain a multi-generational county? No, but what they said was, I would like my children to be able to live here after they graduate from college. I would like my grandkids to be able to stay here. I would like somewhere for grandma to be able to live when she has to move out of her big house because, you know, she doesn't want to deal with all those bedrooms anymore or whatever it might be. So that's kind of what that issue means. Recent legislation, again, how do we tailor Live Local Act to Martin County, avoid any of the negative unintended consequences, and then how do we address that septic to sewer issue, which is not a new issue, and I expect to continue to hear more about it. So tonight we want to hear your thoughts on these things. So in addition to tonight's effort, another thing that's going on is we are launching on, I believe it's this Friday, a community survey, which you'll be able to get to from the Martin County website. There'll be a little spot to click on there. It has a series of questions in there. Should take you about 10 minutes to complete. Frankly, everyone here, please do that. None of these opportunities are exclusive. We're not going to go down the list from tonight's meeting and say, oh, they came and talked to us. We don't want to see their survey results. We do want to see those results too, because there's going to be things that maybe are going to come up, you know, in your mind after the conversation tonight. And you'll be like, oh, I wish I had asked that, or they didn't ask about this, or why didn't anybody talk about this particular thing? And so the survey has some ABCD questions in there, some yes, no, and then it has some open answer sections to help get your input there. Again, we're launching it on September 1st, and we're going to have it open through the end of the year. Because our report backstage on this is not till January. So input and direction tonight, launching that survey on the 1st, website page through the Martin County website. We have to assemble that public input that we get all through this process by the end of the year. And then there will be a workshop in January to present a summary of the public input that we have heard. And then basically that input is provided to the county staff and the Board of County Commissioners to then provide direction to them on what to do with this input. So I think that's yes. So thank you very much. And so what we're going to do again, Lauren is going to turn on her microphone and she's going to start taking some comment. And I'm actually going to ask Clyde Doolin to come up here as well in case there's things that we can clarify or actually help us understand maybe some of the comments if there's geographic specificity to them that I'm not familiar with, those sorts of things. And our office is in Stewart, so Martin County is not alien to me, but I don't know all the nooks and crannies like Clyde does, or certainly you all do. So who's got the first comment? Put your hand up in the air. Lady in the purple right over there. Oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot to mention, Kim Delaney from council staff is sitting at the table up front there. She is going to scribe your comments down, and you'll be able to see them show up on the screen there. I don't expect that you can read them over there unless you have supervision, but just know that they're going in. We are logging them in that way. So, okay, now I'm done.
This is working. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hold it a little further away.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joanne Black. I live in Palm City, Martin County, and I would like to address the Section 8 housing. So there's different areas to concentrate on. In some communities, the concentration of Section 8 affordable housing can lead to higher concentration of poverty in certain areas that may create challenges to the community development and can contribute to social and economic disparities. We're concerned that the presence of Section 8 housing in a neighborhood can lead to a decline in our property values. This is a perception that may vary depending on the community or individual's opinion, but mine is a concern. Strain on the infrastructure, an increased demand of public resources and services such as schools, healthcare, transportation, will be a strain on the community infrastructure. The administration and management of this housing program involves a significant amount of paperwork, processes, etc. We're kind of unaware of what that consists of. Also, fraud. In some incidents, mismanagement of fraudulent activities related to housing. This has been reported. This will include issues such as ineligible people receiving assistance or landlords engaging in unethical practices. I'm a retired geriatric nurse. Needless to say, our population is quite large in our geriatric areas. I would like to see housing just for the elderly population only. What is happening to our elderly now is they no longer can afford their property insurance. Their taxes and all of that. So they're having to sell their homes. This affordable housing, they will not be top of the list. It will be single mothers with children, etc. I want to move my elderly population up. I want to take care of them first. They've worked, they've paid their taxes all these life. I want to see that happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe this gentleman over here? Oh, and then back there, okay.
There are two questions I have. First, I saw a plan along Bridge Road of a housing project. And in that plan, there were no borrow pits. Now, you know, a borrow pit brings the land up to a level that we could possibly separate us from flooding or no flooding. Now, this is, and that should be, elevation in those areas should be of primary importance. Second question, I live in Rocky Point, and there's a lot of septic systems there. Mm-hmm. Rocky Point is a confined area. It's a little peninsula cut off, sort of almost an island, because it has, and if you don't change the septic planning and go to sewage in time, they're building every lot is taken almost, mm-hmm. and you have to do something. I know there's a plan to do part of it, but they should expedite the second plan, and Rocky Point should be under sewage other than septic. And this is quite important and this should be held for everyone. Now, we should also ensure that building codes are kept and no confining. See, I'm an old timer here, so I was in when Andrew came through in Kendall, and I built my own house and it stood, but
because you probably put nails in instead of staples. And
staples and they
and more than one screw in the window.
Homosote building roofing boards. Well, everything went, and it was just the planning was not, the code was not enforced. So we should enforce codes everywhere. And when these, as you say, low rent, low cost housing projects come into play, it's important that if we have a catastrophe like Andrew, and that's one in a century, believe it. If we have this catastrophe, we don't have these people out in the street. Their houses stay together.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because you're right there.
I'm right
and then-
here.
and then we'll- Yes, and then we'll run back to Jesse.
Okay.
Back there. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hello, how is everybody? My name is Mary Gavin. I'm a Home Sound resident for a long time, 25, 30 years. And I guess, first of all, I don't see HB 102 as Section 8 housing. It's definitely very different, and I would recommend everybody read it. And I wanted to make a comment and then ask my question. And the only comment is I'm already hearing a lot of, not my backyard, and we don't need low-income housing, and we need to take care of our seniors, which we do, but we're not going to have any employees to work in the nursing homes, or to work in Publix, or to work in the gas stations, or to work, period, if we don't have affordable housing. And that's going to create a bigger dilemma than I think any of us realize. And just take a look at California if you would like a good example of what happened there. It's identical to stopping the growth of affordable housing. So the question I have along those lines is somewhat understanding, I guess it's Senate Bill 102. When it comes down to the new sewer, septic to sewer, how does that get overridden? In other words, are all of those potential facilities going to be required to go to sewer? Can the state override that? And exactly how's that decision-making process going to be is my question.
So my understanding is that other than density and height, those are the only two things that are preempted through this, that development has to meet all of the other requirements. So if the county's comprehensive plan requires water and sewer service at that site, then they would have to have water and sewer service. That is my understanding of reading it. It's 95 pages, but the couple of key pages are not that many. So that's my understanding. Okay, so in the back there.
I'm Diane Evans, and I'm a Martin County resident, and I know that developers have a strong influence in Tallahassee. I would like to see Martin County push back and not have the developers have so much control in our county here. You talk about septic tanks. Why permit septic tank buildings having a septic tank if in the future you're going to convert it anyway and the people will have to pay additional money? Why permit it? I don't understand that. And ag zoning, why change ag zoning to zero lot line? I've been very disappointed with that. So my comments.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay. Here you go.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dr. Roy Spicer. I'm the president of the HOA of Trey Bell. I've been living in Martin County for 13 years. And when I started coming here, it was a very nice rural area, light suburban area. Now it's transforming into an urbanized area. I think there's unrestrained growth that's going to affect our natural resources. We have limited water, and you're polluting the air with increased density of traffic. For example, Costco, the megaplex, will have 7,000 or more additional cars that are going to spew out pollutants. I have a number of studies that have shown that these particulates affect the children that are in the school next door and other residents. It has a very severe negative impact. Traffic has increased. Cove Road at peak time is almost inaccessible from our development because the traffic is backed up from the charter school. They built development across the street that's going to have a high density of homes. All these new developments are high density, maximum density for the developers to make profit. They're increasing traffic. The traffic studies are inadequate. And I think that ultimately we're going to be an urbanized area and it's going to negatively impact our health. So I think they need to slow down a little bit, really study this environmentally. They're clear cutting these properties, Cove Royale, Trace Preserve down on Cove. They've clear cut the area. Our property is maintained with the preserves, the wetlands, the trees. Martin County growth is on top of this for every tree, but they're allowing these developers to come and just clear cutting the property, which will affect the recharge of our water systems underground, and it's going to cause a major problem on storm runoff. So I think they really need to step back and reevaluate these properties and slow it down. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Carol Ann Leonard. Please use state money and grant money to keep septic to sewer as low as possible in cost for seniors like me and others with lesser income who own their property. Keep the comp plan changes in place that were trying to be stopped in October 2021. Keep comp plan changes minimal. The plan has kept our county great for years. Stop overdevelopment, mandate proper hurricane-worthy structures, and protect the environment.
Thank you.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm fumbling. Good evening. I'm Robin Cartwright. I'm very familiar with the Costco. Thank you for speaking out. I have 3 quick points to make, hopefully quick. I've asked the city and the county with regards to why are projects not approached holistically. We approve projects in silos for the benefit of the developer because we always say, well, what happens if they don't get built? It doesn't matter if ground's been broken across the street. For some reason, the county and the city commissioners do not consider that, nor do the development departments, and as such, we have incorrect traffic studies that are presented, we have incorrect school concurrency studies that are presented, and it's going to create basically a bottleneck when those things come to fruition, because as those projects get built, we will not have sufficient schools, we will not have sufficient roadways, we will not have sufficient infrastructure. So I'm not really sure when the county or the city say that they can't include some holistic approach. They meet occasionally, but there is no holistic approach. So why even have a planning department if a developer can just come in and say, I'd like to change this land use and therefore the zoning and therefore here's my site plan, and it can get approved with a 10% administrative variance every time. And if you look at Bridgeview, that was approved to be a very specific 42-foot height limit, and now it's 60 feet because they manipulated the top floor to be 20 feet high. And that was done over the course of 6 edits. So these holistic approaches should be considered, and hopefully your organization can maybe have some influence on that since you manage 4 counties or oversee 4 counties, because there's no congruency to any planning that happens between Martin County, St. Lucie County, and we have people who cross county lines all the time to work. My second item is SB 102, Live Local. From what I've read and what I understand, and from my research, especially with the Cantor CPUD and with Bridgeview and with Central Parkway Lofts, the appeal of affordable housing was presented by the developer to say that 10% would be available as affordable housing, but there is no enforcement of that, and there is not with Senate Bill 102 either. All the developer has to do is say it will be affordable, but there's nobody to manage it, there's no reporting to the state, there's no accountability. So if somebody comes in and says, I'd like to qualify for affordable housing, it's basically on the goodwill of the developer to come in and say, okay, you qualify and here's what we're going to charge you, without them holding the apartment open and then later saying, well, I couldn't get it filled and therefore it's back at market rate. My last item, you'll probably be sorry that you advertised this meeting. My last item is regarding your resiliency statement and the removal of green space and wetlands. We've seen this exclusively in the city of Stuart, but the county is not immune to this either. They're supposed to protect the wetlands, but with the vast number of developments that have been approved, there's not sufficient growth management staff to oversee these, nor permitting staff. And as a result, things are being done like the tree clear cutting that's happening, like wetlands that are being filled in without anybody having any responsibility. And it's becoming the responsibility of the people who live here to report it. And it's creating more work for the county staff and the city staff, and that's not fair to them because we shouldn't be the watchdogs for what's happening. However, part of this issue is with regards to annexation, because the county and the city do not have congruent responsibilities to the community members. So you can build higher in the city of Stuart, you can remove the wetlands, at least in the county, it's stated that you shall preserve the wetlands. And so with the removal of green space and the water runoff that's going to happen, if we're going to protect the estuary, that's not happening at this rate. A baffle does not replace what a wetland can do. And so when a developer comes in and says, we'll mitigate the wetland stormwater management by inputting a baffle, that does not fix anything, absolutely nothing. So I hope that you'll take these comments and approach them in a very holistic standpoint, because we are at a tipping point. And if you look at what's happening right now with the storm in Pinellas County, they're already flooding on the West Coast and the storm hasn't even hit yet. And part of that is because of the amount of concrete that they have and the lack of green space.
Thank you. I'll get you next.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Erica Beitler. I was raised here, went through the school system since kindergarten, and I work here. and I'm a landscape architect and a planner. And I wanted to talk about what they're talking about in holistically and preservation. Through that, with the resiliency and the growth and development trends, I would really like to see green infrastructure as a regulation that we have to abide by, because so often as working with developers, you want to do the basic bottom line, and it's not a requirement. So if we required higher standards, and when I say green infrastructure, sorry, I'm a little nervous, but I do this in my sleep. I'm talking about impacts. Green infrastructure can be the centerpiece. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking so much. Woo!
There you go.
Baby, it's taking all the stuff. Anyways, because development is happening no matter if you like it or not, and it's about developing smart and establishing good regulations that need to be abided by. And when I say green infrastructure, I'm not just talking about stormwater, and I'm talking about, I'm talking about creating integrated solutions, shared infrastructure, collecting stormwater in different ways of pollution, because every drain leads to our environment, either wetlands or the river. Really keeping the regulations to not just getting away with old-time development. And also making, sorry, I should sit down because it was making me nervous. I'm like shaking. Yeah, so, because we want to make a centerpiece of smart regional metropolitan planning, ensuring communities have livable environments and clean air, water for generations to come. With that, you might have to pay a little bit up front, but maintenance and it would offset having to redo infrastructure in the long run. What else is there? Not only is it stormwater, but strengthen wildlife corridors and greenways and park systems, as well as site-scale smart communities with better transportation systems. So all of this, I mean, I'm just doing trigger words or whatever, but I know working closely with growth management often that if the rule is what the rule is, the developer has to abide by it. Mm-hmm. So anyways, as an advocate on both a community level and the development level, I would like that, as well as strengthening pedestrian and bicycle regional connections. I know other counties have stronger connections, and we are suburban. And I know it seems like we're growing so urban, but we really aren't urban in the terms of we don't have that connectivity, accessibility to a regional scale. And also encourage the use of like pervious asphalt and concrete for these big street trees instead of mandatory 6-foot concrete sidewalks. Can we think about a different kind of material and stuff like that? Those are just a few items as it regards to regulation and accepting development in a smart way. So.
Thank you.
My name is Joel Gebhardt. I've lived here in Martin County, Danforth now for 5 years. My wife and I moved here from Miami, where we lived for 51 years. We moved there in 1967. In 1967, Miami was a nice, sleepy little city. It's not that way now. And my caution is about the traffic that is choking the city of Miami. It's impossible to go anywhere without being in choking traffic. And I can see that's happening here already. In the 5 years we've been here, coming here tonight on Monterey, traffic is backed up all the way to Map Road. It's not even winter time. The snowbirds aren't even here yet. So anything that this county does by way of growth you've got to factor in the potential for choking, absolute choking traffic, which makes you miserable. You will not like it here. And we're already seeing that happen. A road in Miami that began in about 63, a few years before we got there, they called it the Road to Nowhere. It was Kendall Drive. Some of you who may be from Miami may be familiar with that. Dadeland Mall, South Miami, all the way out to the edge of the Everglades. A 4-lane highway was built through farmland. You could U-pick. You could stop off on the side of the road and buy veggies, whatever you want. That does not exist anymore. That was a 10-mile run. You could do it in open country in about 10 minutes. Now there's a traffic signal every 200 yards. It's an hour-and-a-half ride. There's nothing that is not built out there. Baptist Hospital West Campus is out there. It's totally, totally built out with everything you can possibly imagine. They just put a road, and before you know it, there's absolute choking traffic. I see that happening at Martin, where the Turnpike meets Martin Highway, going out west towards Curtis. I mean, the growth, if it's not managed, and that needs to be a major consideration for anything you do. You're going to be choking in traffic. You're going to hate it. You're going to want to move someplace else. You don't want to be in Miami. You don't want to be in Fort Lauderdale, Port St. Lucie. This is a desirable community. I mean, it's one of the top communities. When people think of a nice community in Florida, this is it. I'm done. I can feel the hook.
The hook.
Okay, so that's it. My whole thing here is traffic, traffic, traffic. Be careful what you do. You're going to suddenly find yourself wanting to leave. So, caution.
Thank you.
I'm going to come up here and sit down so I won't be nervous. My name is Tom Whittington. I'm a very grateful resident of Palm City. Like you, I'm glad I'm here. We're talking about a lot of heavy things today, very important things. I do want to just say that I am glad we're keeping it civil. We are all in this together. None of us get out of here alive, so let's make sure we all do a good job in presenting our views. So I am here to talk about something that doesn't get a lot of play, and I certainly understand why, but we are losing our working waterfronts. I am president of the Marine Industry Association and glad to represent a lot of folks that make their living, but also make this the sleepy little town that we are on the water. And we have lost some key areas to development. I understand that people own property that they've had in their families, and at some point in time they'd probably like to sell it and reap some benefits from that. And I am looking for ways that we can help folks that are currently working waterfronts have alternatives to not sell that property and it become another condo. I just come because I don't know who else that's going to be listening to me. I am very pleased with what the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council is doing. They're working very hard with the marine industry to develop a financial impact statement to show what we really mean to our community. So I applaud them for their efforts, and thanks for tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Come back over here.
Yes, this gentleman's had his hand up for a little bit. Jesse, do you want to, are you keeping everybody in? Oh, okay, all right.
There goes your job. Yeah. I'm Jim Moyer. I wear a couple hats in this community. I'm the Indian River Keeper. I've been an LPA representative for 20 years.
A little louder, Jim.
All right. Mic's still working.
There you go.
A couple questions and an observation. The Marine Resources Council is going to be hosting a low-impact development symposium. It will be the third one that we've done in the last 3 years. And so low impact development and green infrastructure are what you spoke about in terms of landscape development. But it provides a lot of incentives for developers to do the right thing when it comes to stormwater treatment, as well as property owners managing the stormwater on site rather than having the municipality require the expense. It also points out that there's a lot of things that we do as a community and a lot of things that we invest in that may not be in the long-term best interest of the environment. And so I think that a lot of that is long-term, finite-scale planning that we have somehow neglected to do in some places. A couple questions. How does 102 affect the land use designation on properties? And if it is really only applying to industrial and commercially zoned properties or planned properties, is there any mechanism that we could cap those so that we aren't converting residential properties into commercial properties that then trigger this requirement for higher density and potentially workforce, quote unquote, housing? You know, I think quite honestly, if they would stop attacking the Sadusky Fund and some other funds that are designed for affordable housing, then we might not be in this predicament. Obviously, one of the strong concerns I have about 1379, is that we don't have enough understanding of what that's going to cause. I hope you have another workshop when the staff and Martin County and the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Agency have that more firmly in their grasp, because that's going to have huge or potentially huge impacts on how we treat our urban service boundary and how we prioritize wastewater treatment as well as septic to sewer conversions, because it really is bigger than just septic to sewer conversions. I'm looking forward to the next couple of workshops. This is just a beginning blush. I do urge us to put into the comp plan some incentives for using low impact development and green infrastructure when it's applicable. I think that one of the things that we should do is map where those industrial and commercial sites are so that we can speak more specifically about what Senate Bill 102 is going to do, but we also need to be very concerned about those properties that are converting into commercial and what that means and why. I think that having a requirement for some agency or the growth management department to track what is affordable and how developers are using those affordable housing credits to their advantage. And I think that if we don't do that, we're going to allow things to get really out of hand, and that would be very unfortunate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Renee Lassard-Morshed, and I just have a quick question. It's my understanding that there is a law that's taken effect that there's so many people, 50,000, we have to prepare for 50,000 new homes within the next X amount of years. Is that?
Yes, I will try and address that, and I may need to defer to Clyde to help me with that. But it is my understanding that there's a change in the statute this session that changed the population projection that the county has to use for growth management, and so. The projection gets done, and then the plan has to accommodate that population. Is that correct, Clyde? Please. We're at the edge of what I know right there. So.
Hello, folks. My name is Clyde Doolin. I'm the Comprehensive Planning Administrator for the Growth Management Department. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. We really do value your input. There is no set number that said that this county shall have absorb this, and this county shall absorb this, and so on like that. But the Florida statutes do require for us to do planning for population, with population projections, and they do have specifics, and they have put some more language into statute that says how we shall do our population projections for our planning, for planning purposes. And so that's one of the areas that we are still studying, and we were looking at today, and I was talking with Tom about, is the changes in Florida statute that require us to use at least the minimum projections that are found in Florida statute, or that are published by the state of Florida. So it's going to be different for every county, and then we'll have to break down. Well, as I said, it's a new piece of legislation. We haven't yet fully digested it. It just took effect probably July 1. So, oh yeah. I mean, we do projections for population, and we try to plan for the projected growth. And so we will be looking at that, but there's no set number assigned. That's what the thing I wanted to answer your question with.
Thanks, Clyde. Thank you. Okay, so it's funny. I got one clap. Sorry. Is it your mom?
Hi, my name is Brenda
Oh, that's
LaVoy,
funny.
and I think we can
Yeah.
all agree that one of the major issues that we're facing here is the growth in Martin County that we've seen in the last year or so. We're all concerned with it. Now, I'm not a NIMBY. Growth is going to happen no matter what, but it needs to be controlled. Right now, I think it's a little out of control. I live in Summerfield, which is off of Cove Road, and right now, under development, Preserve at Park Trace, 114 single-family homes. Cove Royale, 80 residential units. Willoughby Townhomes, which is really Edgewater Townhomes now, 113 townhomes. And then what was Showcase, I don't know what they're calling it now, but it's across from Trey Bell, 79 single-family homes, 164 duplexes. This doesn't sound like controlled growth to me. It sounds like a saturation. And I just want to know what the plans are to eliminate this kind of development within a 1 square mile in Martin County.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Starzinski. I'm a retired physician. I only say that because everything I do and act for is in the interest of the public health and the common good. I'm completely transparent and not duplicitous. So in regard to Western lands, which was up on the PowerPoint as strategies to maintain rural agricultural character, methods to prevent sprawl. How interesting. Let's backtrack to 2022-23 in the Rural Lifestyle Amendment and the extraordinary amount, many citizens, organizations did to try to make the county follow our famous growth comprehensive plan. Okay, so this is I wasn't prepared to speak. I didn't know that this wasn't, I thought it was information, not outreach. I'm just going to quote a brief paragraph from one of the arguments that Friends of the Everglades hired Richard Grosso, who was a very, very famous environmental lawyer, to make one of the many arguments he made in his statements to the county commission, who, and I don't want to say what they said, okay. Objections to CPA 2108 Becker 14 text. Are you guys familiar a little bit with the Rural Land Use Amendment? I don't want to go on and on about it. Okay. It really dramatically changed our comprehensive plan and has opened our western lands to potentially completely unsustained growth. Okay, this is just one of Mr. Grosso's. He's a super lawyer, not me. I'm a healthcare provider. The most fundamental objection to the brand new rural lifestyle land use category is that creating a new land use category that can be used to support even more suburbanization of rural lands is bad policy. It is unnecessary to allow the county to consider future use land changes in the rural area, and on the other hand, it does not limit or prohibit the approval of any such standalone proposals. There's nothing to be gained by doing this unless the county's objective is to create yet one more mechanism and set of policies that can be employed to suburbanize its rural lands. If it changes the comprehensive plan to provide this new option, the county should expect to see even more applications for such projects that claim to meet the terms of the new plan policies. Now, this all changed a little bit in the final, but the requirement for a minimum of 1,000 contiguous acres may not be as limiting as may be inserted, as the ownership of assembly of tracts of this land size are not uncommon in rural areas. If for those of you who don't recall, when the Rural Lifestyle Amendment was approved, the final approval said that additional areas had to be contiguous to this, what was approved, and they had to be at least 1,000 acres. But you know, there's a lot going on here that is not clean. I know clean and dirty. As the terms of these proposed policies as originally proposed, they were vague at best and far too easy to meet at worst. The May 31, 2022 county staff report was right to recommend against its approval because of its very broad potential application. The new proposed language submitted by the applicant was still not an improvement. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I just want to say what he said, one more thing. The proposed land use change and the proposed new land use designation violate the comprehensive plan, which we're working to protect. So we're working with the county and the commissioners, and to some extent the planning, who did work to violate our famous comprehensive plan. I'm very clear on that. So the proposed amendments, individually and collectively, are inconsistent with the overarching goals, objective, policies, and intent of the county's comprehensive plan. And Mr. Grosso made the argument that because of that, it was illegal. I can't make that argument. That's his words. So all I want to say is, with all due respect, please, let's not play games. We're not stupid. None of us come to, well, you'd have to be pretty sadistic and masochistic to come to this meeting because you liked it. So these kind of meetings, okay? I mean, you know, really. So please be clean with us. Please we have a famous comp plan. All the arguments I heard from Nat Reed and Maggie Herchella and all people at a much higher pay grade than me, what I learned was this. The comp plan is the comp plan. It needs minor changes, but it doesn't need a lot of change because it's the comprehensive plan. So could we please just do what is absolutely required by statute and not sneak in these duplicitous text amendments that are going to destroy our western lands?
Anybody want to follow that?
No?
Hello, my name is John Dial. I got to tell you, I'm not very well versed on a whole lot of stuff here, right? But I do know there's two issues that we all need to deal with, and that's height restrictions and density. The picture we have up here on the wall is not one most of us see anymore. All you got to do is drive down through Jensen Beach or down through Federal Highway, right? And you'll see the difference. I had the pleasure, I heard you mention Maggie Urchella. I knew Maggie very well. Wasn't always a fan of hers. Or with, God, who's the Sarah. I wasn't always a friend of Sarah's either, right? At the end of the day, though, I had 5.5 acres next to Maggie's park that I could have put seven houses on. But I didn't do it because I realized that was an aquifer for Rocky Point, where he lives and I live, right? And so I bought it at a wholesale from bankruptcy, and I gave it to the county for the same pass-through. I lost the taxes on it. But I think we can't blame these guys, and we can't blame the developers. We all came here. But I think you need to think about who you're going to vote for, right? And until you change the people that are the players that make those decisions, they're all playing by the rules that are put in front of them. So until we all decide on who we want to represent us, and as long as you keep voting the same way, you're going to get the same results.
Good evening. My name is Allison Rampersad. I do not live in Martin County. I live in Palm Beach County, and that's why I'm here, because I want to get the hell out of Dodge. I would ask you to look at last 10 years of Palm Beach County's growth, overgrowth. It is out of control. Traffic, all the things that you guys have mentioned, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. So all you have to do is take a look at Palm Beach County to know this is what will be. So I hope that, as the gentleman just said, you guys vote for the right people who will support what you want. Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, this lady up front, Lauren.
Thank you. My name is Debbie Clark. I live in Hope Sound. Moved here in 1975 when, I bet many of you won't believe this, I-95 did not come through Palm Beach County. And one of the first social events I ever attended, there was several people who said, "Oh, all of you people coming from the north, why are you doing that?" And of course I came here for the same reason everybody else did, the beautiful weather. And that's what everybody's doing. That's what they've always done. That's what they always will do. So what we have to do is be very smart about dealing with those people. We are now the second largest state in the union. Why is that? That Martin County has a population of 166,000. Port St. Lucie has a population of 285,000. Port St. Lucie didn't even exist a few years ago. We have been very fortunate and we've been very good here in Martin County. But now we have to get very smart. And we have to stop being this side and that side. And we have to say, people want to be here. How will we best do that? And keep what I call is real Florida. The only way we're going to do that is to stop being mad, stop taking sides, and start saying, we're going to save real Florida. But we're going to do it with a comp plan. We've had one of the toughest comp plans there's ever been, and yet we're still complaining. Maybe what we should say is we're darn fortunate because we've had a very good comp plan, and I have a feeling these gentlemen are going to do a very good job for us. But we have to be good about it and stop being nasty about it. Let's be good Floridians. Let's be the neighbors we want to have. That's why we all moved here. Just out of curiosity, how many Floridians do we have? How many Floridians do we have? Are you from Florida?
Native born?
Were you born in Florida? And I've been here since 1975. So what makes us Floridians? That's my point. There's about 7 people here that were born. All the rest of us came. And we all want to say, well, we're here now. Damn, we're lucky and damn, we're smart. Let's shut the door. No, you can't do that. You got to be smart. Help us stay strong and smart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Tom Pine, and I've been coming to commission meetings now pretty regular for a few years. And I feel we've had a good, strong Martin County growth management plan. The trouble is, I have not seen a single project approved in Martin County for building that our commissioners didn't alter the plan. So we can pass the best plan on earth. Unless there's a way to stop the commissioners from changing it, it's all a lot of just good talk. Because they changed every single project that has come before them. They have altered the comp plan. There's a massive plan getting started right now in Rio. The water sitbacks on the river were all but eliminated. That's the only one I can come up with right off the top of my head. We had a good comp plan. It doesn't matter if there's no teeth to keep people in power from changing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John Sedwitz, Hope Sound resident. I have one question. Regarding the primary and secondary urban services district, we all want to live within in that and not have it expanded. Obviously, there's some changes to that with rural lifestyle, and I understand that. My bigger question is, what is the strategy behind freestanding urban service boundaries? I understand that we have one over by Canner Highway. What is the future and what's the strategy behind that with the county?
I'm going to ask Clyde to field that one.
You're correct. There is a primary and a secondary, and there is a freestanding urban service district that is permitted for industrial purposes only, not commercial, not general commercial or limited commercial, not residential. There are a couple of freestanding urban service districts. One is out by the landfill. Another one is out beyond that on the ag tech property. And the third one is the one that you're referring to. When that freestanding urban service district was created on Canner Highway, it was actually a swap. There was about 250 acres of commercial and industrial land over by the canal that was moved over to Canner Highway, and there was a no net increase in commercial and industrial and a no net decrease in agricultural in the process of creating that. But that's all it is it's a freestanding industrial for job creation.
Thanks, Clyde. Okay. Anybody else got comments they want to get in at this stage? Like I did say, there's the survey is going to go out on or be available on the 1st, and then there will be a ramp-up hearing for the public outreach in January, and then any of the proposed changes that come about, either to deal with statute or address the newer issues, will go have their own hearings. And yes, I see peeking behind Lauren's head a hand over there.
Hi, my name is Laura Joby. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I want to say this is a great group. Thank you so much for coming. And we have in this room all age groups, people who've been here 5 years, 20 years, and several generations. But the one thing we all know is what we don't want. And the lady from Palm City said, do you want to be Miami? Do you want to be Palm? We need some sort of home rule. We know what we want. Some people say, you have to let people in. It's not about keeping people out. What are our resources? Do we have the ability to have all of this building? Nice lady said it's overgrowth. It's overgrowth on steroids. And it hasn't just been the last year. It's been the last 6 years. I mean, we have commissions and people who have passed, annexed property in. They bought commercial. They changed it to multifamily. Affordable housing, it's great. I think it's great you want to have people who come in and work here, who come from other towns, and they work as waiters, they work as x-ray technicians. Has anyone been to any of the apartments that have been built, the complexes that have been built? If you do the AMI, you're talking about $2,200. Who's that affordable housing for? It's not for the waiter. It's not for the x-ray technician. I'm sorry. It isn't. It isn't being built for them. And a builder comes in and says, I'm going to give 40%. I'm going to get 10 years at the tax break. So now your dollars are paying for any infrastructure, et cetera, that need to support that complex. Again, who's going to do those numbers? Who's going to follow if those people meet the affordable housing requirements? The end result is you might have to hire more employees from the city, the county, or whatever to do that. Bigger tax roll for us. Great, more employees. They can't work here because we haven't built affordable housing for them, okay? So, I mean, I just think there's so many things, and it's not like we're getting on you, but plan is the word. We need to plan. Before you build anything else, plan the roads that will work. Plan for the water that, where is it going to go? You have cleared, you go up any Canner Highway, any main street, there are just thousands of acres just cleared. That pervious surface, where do you think all that rain is going to go? Once you build those concrete, everybody was hard about Costco. Listen, I like a great Costco. I was more upset about the 358 apartments that were going to go in. We're we're such a society that deals in the environment. We're putting up 18 gas stations. Is that for the electric cars that are coming? Really? I mean, honestly, I'm just so tired of it. We need to change the people in power. We need to vote, responsibly. We need to do what you're all doing. Come to these meetings and speak your mind. Home rule. Do we want Martin County to be Delray or Miami or Palm Beach? We don't. Then that is up to us to do it. And you have people coming in, they can come in, but we shouldn't be building and then worry about the road structure and worry about all of that after they get here. Someone said to me once, well, we have to build it. I said, no, it's like the movie, build it, they will come. Don't build it, they won't come. I'm sorry. Florida is a big state. If you want to live urban, I think that's great. I remember being 25, I lived in New York City, it was fabulous. But I lived in Darien, Connecticut for a lot of years before I moved here. It's a small town. I wanted a small town. And that's what people come here for, a small county, that Florida that we're losing. And now there's the sprawl out to the middle of the state. That's going to be gone too. But there are people coming from the Midwest. If you want to live in a city, go to Tampa, go to Jacksonville. Florida is a great state. It offers everything. If you want urban, you can go urban. If you want suburban, you can go suburban. If you want rural, there's places to go to rural. There's horses and pigs and everything to enjoy. I mean, honestly. Why are we ruining a whole state because the state said we have to supply X amount of people, X amount of... No, we don't have to. Not only do you need to elect the officials that represent us, the people we send up to the State House, maybe they need to go also. Thank you very much.
Darlene Van Riper, I live in Hobe Sound. I was just wondering, do any of you know how much the county has grown this year? Because it seems like there's growth everywhere, all this development going on. Is there, historically, Martin County grew at a rate of 2% or less. Do you know how much it's grown this year, percentage-wise? No? I saw Mr. Schilling back there. Do you know, Mr. Schilling? A percentage that Martin County has grown so far this year?
Paul Schilling, Growth Management Director. So the numbers are consistent historically. It's a 1% to 2%. This year we've had growth with respect to projects that were phases that were previously approved. And we've also had multifamily, the majority of which is within the City of Stuart jurisdiction. So you may see some growth in 3-story, 4-story apartment buildings. Those are within the City of Stuart jurisdiction. Our focus has been on townhome development and single family, is what was talked about earlier. I don't know the exact percentage. 166,000. Sure.
For Stewart. Uh-huh.
There are hard numbers that you can look at because, again, these things are approved in silos. Bridgeview is 212 apartments. Central Parkway Lofts is 176 apartments. The Cantor CPUD is 376 apartments at an average rate of 1.8 persons per unit. We are looking at a projected population of what we should be in 2035 when those come online in the next 2 to 3 years. We also have Springtree coming online. We have Avonlea that was annexed in. That's in the town of Jensen Beach. That's technically now in the City of Stuart. It's in District 1, Doug Smith's district. So there are numbers that you can pull, and this is exactly my point. When you pull these numbers separate from the county, we are not looking at this holistically. Anybody who has to drive to a Costco or a big box store on Cantor Highway, nobody cares that somebody in Palm City did or didn't want it. It's going to affect Palm City. It doesn't matter that it was approved in the City of Stuart. This is exactly my point. So when you talk about the growth in population, we should not have to talk about the City of Stuart or the Village of Indiantown or the town of Ocean Breeze separately from the county. The county is the county. We all live in the county.
Okay. Oh.
can have one more moment. One quick.
Okay, I'm gonna limit double dipping, but I just allowed Robin to do it, so I'll let you do it. And if I could, I know there's been talk about voting and whatever, and then I just heard a specific commissioner's name. This is not a political meeting, so
No, I understand.
let's
I'm actually
just
not gonna talk
be a little careful. Because I work for all of them and all of you, so be a little careful.
6 months ago, I attended Martin Cares. It's a great program. I advise everyone who hasn't gone to go. The one scary thing is when we were in the where the police are and the evacuation, all of that, I asked the question. We now have expanded so much in the way of how many of us there are. There are only so many roads out of this area during a hurricane. And this is Florida. It's not if the hurricane's coming, it's when. So the answer that I received back was not very heartwarming because they can give you, right now, they'll give you like 4 days to a week to say you need to evacuate. Based on the future growth, they're talking about, well, to safely evacuate, you'd have to do it 2 weeks in advance. Who knows 2 weeks in advance if the hurricane's going to come? So the reality is, even for our safety, you either create new evacuation roads or you have to limit the amount of people who are here. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hold on now.
Wait. No. President. Okay, quick question.
Look, I can't close the door, right? I open the door.
No. We're going to bar the door. A question regarding what was said, Stewart versus unincorporated Martin County. Yes. The young lady that lives in Summerfield that was talking about all the development down along the Cove Road corridor, I believe that's Stewart. I don't know off the top of my head.
That's Martin.
But I guess my question is, how does the growth plan come into play and who has jurisdiction over what? Can Stewart alter the plan in their own council? Because I think a lot of the concern with the apartments is the growth that's going on in Stewart.
Yes. So specifically the jurisdiction of the county for growth management issues is the unincorporated territory of the county. If an area is incorporated or annexed into a municipality, then the growth is directed by that municipality. There are only limited circumstances where the county would be involved in growth inside the city or an incorporated area if they were providing utility service, for example, or some of those other things. But it is really the jurisdiction that has that control. And it is, we heard home rule once tonight. It is actually from, for the people of that city, it's their home rule inside their city limits and those sorts of things. But yes. Okay. All right. I think we have, yes? You got a comment? No. Okay. And I guess that's it. So thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the applause, too. And do check out the survey on the website when it comes out. I think it may elicit some more thoughts. Thank you.